Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's Cabinet meeting on Tuesday, the 12th of September 2023. We can start by going through the minutes of the meeting of the 6th of the 6th. Are we all content that this is a true record? Thank you. We have apologies from the Leader of the Council, Councillor Lees. I am filling in for him in his absence. Do we have any other apologies?
No other apologies.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? One is indicating, so we will move straight on then to agenda item 4, which is the allocation of UK shared prosperity funding, and I'll hand over to Mrs. Roberts.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. So this report is the allocation of UK shared prosperity funding. This report will seek formal approval from the Cabinet to allocate UK shared prosperity funding resources to the specific projects set out in the report and appendix, which is attached to your reports. Now, members will recall the UK Shared Prosperity Fund is the central pillar of the UK Government's Levelling Up agenda and is a significant component of its support for places across the United Kingdom. And overall, on a United Kingdom basis, it provides 2.6 billion of new funding for local investment, all to be spent by March 2025. South Staffordshire Council's allocation was 3.82 million, split across revenue and capital across the 3 funding years, starting with 2022-2023 through to 2024-25. And in 2023, summer of 2022, we submitted an investment plan, which members had sight of. Our draft investment plan was put together focusing on existing council priorities in consultation with members and our partners. Broadly, that plan and those priorities will be focused on a strong and effective package of business support across our business sectors, skills and support for access for employment for our residents, investment in our village centres, environmental improvements, decarbonising our own assets, extending our Warmer Homes activity, which is a programme which I'm sure members are aware of, and active travel improvements. So in March 2023, the Cabinet approved a new governance structure to enable the Council to deliver the programme with sufficient oversight and challenge from our members, senior officers and partners, whilst meeting the Government's requirements to have an effective governance system to properly manage the funding. Whilst members have been kept informed of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund progress, they are yet to formally approve the allocation of funding to specific projects, which this report now aims to formalise. And that's set out at Appendix A. So Appendix A outlines the indicative allocations across the 3 priority areas, and the scope of these projects were previously agreed through the investment plan submitted. And these projects are now being worked up and planned for. And members will also recall that the people and skills priority, we've created the Creating Brighter Futures programme to provide assistance for residents, long-term unemployed and furthest from the jobs market, alongside opportunities for reskilling and upskilling existing workforce. Across the full 3 years, the programme circa 1.9 million has been provisionally allocated supporting local business priority. This encompasses a range of activity, including bespoke business startup programmes with grants, business growth, a grants programme, research and development programme, green solutions programme with grants, and a capital allocation to begin to decarbonise our own assets with a focus on Landywood Enterprise Park. Members will also have noted that in Appendix A, there's a circa 1.2 million residual UK Shared Prosperity funding unallocated and available for organisations to bid to deliver projects in line with the Council's investment plan priorities and interventions. This has been launched and is already beginning to gain some interest. Approval is now sought from the Cabinet to allocate the UK Shared Prosperity funding to the projects outlined in Appendix A, and the recommendation is that Cabinet approve the allocation of funding as set out in Appendix A. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm just looking at travel. Of course, it's a broad scope for the whole country. How do we respond to that?
to the okay, so active travel improvements. So that includes potentially some projects relating to cycle paths and improvement in terms of active travel improvements in terms of being able to utilise our own green spaces for walking and cycling largely. There may well be some more public transport initiatives along the way, but ultimately that's about active travel improvements as it stands.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? In that case, it is recommended that the Cabinet approve the allocation of UK shared prosperity funding to the projects outlined in Appendix A to enable the delivery of the outputs and outcomes associated with them and the benefits this will bring to our residents and businesses. Can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. That's carried. Moving on then now to agenda item 5, budget monitoring Q1. Mr. Mayhew.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson, and good afternoon, councillors. The budget monitoring Q1 report before you today carries on from the Appendix 2 of the Integrated Performance Management that's presented to the weekly briefing last week. Subsequent to that meeting, all Cabinet members, bar I think Councillor Reid, have had the opportunity to discuss the detail with their accountants and service managers. I believe Councillor Reid is diaried for this coming Thursday, so at that point all Cabinet members have had the opportunity to go through the detail. In summary, the report shows a betterment against the general fund of £45,000, making a marginal reduction to the budgeted draw on the general fund in the current financial year. That represents fairly consistent and steady management of the service level budgets. But on top of that, row 9 of the table in Appendix 1 demonstrates the ongoing benefit the council is receiving from high interest rates for the balances that we hold, which has led us to anticipate a £238,000 betterment against the budget set for Treasury income at the start of the year. And the current plan is that could be held in an earmark reserve, which members desire can be used to initially prop up an earmark reserve for funding potential liabilities going forward for closed churchyards. Otherwise, row 13 shows how the vagaries and the oscillations of business rates will be of benefit to the council in this particular financial year. That is now will be continuously looked at in the current financial year to see if any further benefit can be achieved from that area, again to the betterment of the general fund. I'm happy to answer any questions that members may have.
Do we have any questions? We have no questions. Before I move the recommendation, I would just like to thank the officers for helping us through the very difficult last couple of years and kept the ship steady. And we are in a very good financial situation. So thank you very much. It's recommended that the Cabinet review and note the Q1 financial position. All in favour? Thank you. And that being the last item on the agenda, I can declare this meeting closed.